Alright, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to do this really simple masked zoom out transition. Usually I see this in car edits and music videos. It's a really simple effect and I'll break it down for you today. Let's go. So over here I have two clips. First one is this one over an engine, and then the next one is the actual tire, and we're going to be zooming out from this clip into this through this tire, and we're going to mask out this tire. So before we even begin doing anything, if your clip is like mine where it's kind of wobbly, like it isn't stable the entire time, we're gonna have to stabilize this. And for my clip, I am going from out to in, so I'm walking towards it. So I'm gonna start from the end of my clip, and then I'm gonna go over here under tracker and then click stabilize motion. We're gonna get this tracker point right here. So for this tracker point, there's two things that you need to know. The first thing is the bigger the tracker is, so when we click on this, we can make it bigger, right? We can expand it so that it tracks a bigger area. So like we could do something like this, but when we do that, it'll also take a lot longer for the actual tracking to finish, because there's more information going in. So you want to find a point that's small but also it's recognizable, so it doesn't move while you are tracking it. I'm gonna pick the top of the H, and I'm just gonna bring it smaller right at the top right there. And then because I'm going from the end to beginning, I'm going to click analyze backward. So over here you can kind of see the tracker moving, so it's around here where it kind of goes away from the original point right there. I'm just going to bring this back up here, and then I'm going to click analyze backward from this part. And now we have, and then once we have this, we're going to click apply, and we're going to apply dimensions. We're going to do X and Y. I'm going to click OK. Another thing I forgot to mention is that you should try and find a point that's in the middle of your clip, because now when we look through our entire clip, we can kind of see like black bars on the side. If I were to focus on something like this, the entire clip would kind of slide all the way so that this is the center focus, if that makes sense. But since if we do have these black bars, all we're going to do is, for one, we're going to click this drop down and then click tile action safe, just so we know what the center of this is. And they're just going to bring this in the middle. We're just going to go through the entire clip, and then I'm just going to scale this in a little, maybe 65%, so that we don't have any of those black bars. We have a little at the end. There we go. I think that's good enough. This is my clip completely. But again, because we are going from here to here when you're doing the transition, I'm gonna pre-compose this, move all attributes into new composition, click OK, and then I am going to go under time and then time reverse layer, and then I'm just gonna go to where I can see the entire tire of what I'm gonna mask out, so like this much. I'm just gonna cut it down to that much. Perfect. And now once you're here, I'm going to pre-compose this again, because for our next step, we can't have any time effects on it. So we're going to do roto brush, and then we're going to double click on our layer. If you don't know how to use a roto brush tool, it's basically just, you have this brush, and this is going to be like to make your mask. So we're just going to highlight over, just make like a rough drawing of where your mask should be. And then we're just going to fill it in so it's their entire circle. There we go. Now what this is going to do is mask out this entire part so that we don't have this anymore. I think I'm going to have to invert foreground and background. There we go. So now before it was only going to give us this. Now it's going to give us everything but this. And I'm just going to fix it up a bit at the edges. Once you see that your thing is perfect, you're just gonna go through it a little. So once you see throughout your clip you have no mistakes, the mask is on the entire way, you can click this freeze button, and by clicking freeze, it basically sets this as our mask for the entire clip, so we don't have to go frame by frame ourselves and mask the circle out. There we go. So now when we go to our actual clip, there's nothing here. But now I do want to do a transition with the tire, so I'm gonna duplicate this clip by clicking Control D, and then for the top clip, I'm going to double click on the layer, unfreeze, and then remove the invert for this top clip, and then click freeze again. And now we have both these clips. So this top clip where we have the tire, we're just going to move that to the bottom. There we go. And now we have all the pieces to now do the transition. So we're going to zoom in by clicking this big mountain button, and then we're going to line up where we want the transition. So just watch back, see how much time you want for the transition. I think around maybe like 20 frames would be good. So I'm going to click shift and then page up twice to go back 20 frames. I'm going to highlight both of my layers, and I'm just going to bring it back to that point. So now we can't really see anything. So for our bottom tire clip, we're just going to cut that down up until here, until the clip ends. I'm just going to hide it for now, and just focus on the transition. There's two ways of doing this. It's either use a 3D camera or you just do it in 2D. I'm just going to show you the quicker way, which is the 2D way, because I think it kind of looks the same anyways. So what we're going to do is click S on our keyboard and open up scale. Make a keyframe at the beginning, and then make another keyframe at the end. Perfect. And then for this first keyframe, we're just going to zoom it in until we can't see any of the tire. So now we can already see we kind of have the transition. And now we're going to highlight both of our keyframes, click F9, and then we're going to go into our graph, and we're just going to make this graph right here. Copy this graph. There we go. So now we have a smoother zoom out and a quicker one. And now for our... Alright, so now we have that. It looks a little better. And I want our rim to roll in from the right into the center. So I'm just going to extend this back into the clip around halfway. And then also copy the scale animation we did. Go to the beginning of the keyframe, but now click on our rim. And then we're just gonna click Control V so we paste it onto here so that it's there the entire time. I'm just gonna turn off tile safety action. We don't need that anymore. And now for the animation of it spinning back in, we're gonna click P on our keyboard and R to open up position and rotation. We're gonna add a keyframe both at the beginning, right at the end. Okay, so now once you have these two keyframes, you're gonna go back to the beginning. And then we're gonna add one full rotation. So we're gonna add one on the left. And then for our sliding animation, we're gonna go on our X axis, and then we're just gonna slide it to the right. Perfect. And then let's just watch that back real quick. Yeah, it all comes back in the middle. And now let's animate that. We're just gonna click F9 on our keyboard. So for our rotation, we're gonna do something similar as our last graph, but just not as intense. So just follow this graph. There we go. And then for our top keyframe, what you're gonna have to do is right click on position and then separate dimensions. I'm gonna click F9 to ease them again. For our animation, those only values changed on our X axis, on our X position. So we're gonna only highlight that and then go into our graph. And then we're just gonna copy the same graph that we did for our rotation. There we go. And enable motion blur onto that layer as well. So now I'm just gonna have to drop this down because the footage is 4K. And there we go. And now let's look back. We have this smooth rotation. If your animation, honestly, I think this one is a little too fast for the rim to come in. So all I'm gonna do, you can do two things. If your clip at the bottom, like if you are able to extend it more, then you could just do that, and then just move these keyframes over and then reanimate them. But if this isn't your case and you only have like a certain amount of like footage at the bottom, we're just gonna bring this down a bit to the left, and then extend the actual animation of the rim. Gonna move these first three keyframes back to the left, and then we're just gonna have to reanimate all of these. So we're gonna click F9 again on our keyboard, go into position, graph editor, and then redo that graph that we did. There we go. And then same thing for our rotation, highlight them, go into graph editor, and then do something similar. And there you go, you have this smooth transition. Some other things you can add onto this just to make it look a little better is one, first thing I would always do is go to my composition settings and then bring this down to a lower frame rate. One issue is that when you rotor brush, you're gonna have to keep it on the original frame rate, but then once that's done, you can switch it back to 29 or 24, something that looks more cinematic. And then the next thing I would do is add a flash. So just right click on your timeline, new, and then we're just gonna add an adjustment layer, go right at the end of our first clip, and then we're gonna go back 3, and then we're just gonna go forward 10, and we're just gonna go under exposure. We're gonna add that onto our clip. We're gonna add a keyframe right where the animation ends, and then bring it up by 2, and then we're gonna go to the beginning. Click U on your keyboard so you can open up the effect on your timeline. Add a keyframe at the beginning, put 0, and then go to the end of your adjustment layer, add 0 again, and then F9 both of these. Now what we can also do is animate this. So first 2 keyframes, we can animate this. So we're just gonna go over here, maybe make it a little faster, and then shorten the actual flash, so drop that down so it kind of looks a little like this, and then now we have a quicker flash. And if you want to just add the flash only onto the rim, you can select your exposure, Control X to delete it. You can just delete this that adjustment layer, and then paste it onto your rim clip, and then line up the keyframes. I'm gonna just make this, I think it ends too quickly. There we go. Now we have this super smooth masked zoom out transition. I hope you enjoyed. If there's any other transitions or effects or anything on Premiere, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve that you want to learn, let me know and I'll start working on it. I have a motion graphics one coming soon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and have a good day.